Hi, and thanks for joining us for another in our short series called Embrace the Change. Today, we're talking about tech innovations throughout 2020 and how we've had to develop lots of different things to work with clients and projects to work our way through the challenges that this year has presented. So I've got Neil and Amy joining me for this discussion. Hi, guys.
Hi, James.
Hiya.
So I wanted to start with one that we've been promoting across our social channels and been working directly with clients. It's been the main spearhead of what we've done this year, Camflare. If you're watching this video, you may have seen it, you may have heard it, you may have used it. But I suppose really what I'd like to start with, Neil, is if you think way back to when we first hit this pandemic in March, we've always been a company that's embraced tech innovation and looked at new tech. We did a live stream talking about ways you could keep your events going. But then after that, obviously, everyone was kind of like, well, I don't know what to do. And Camflare was somewhat born out of accessibility ideas, I would say.
Yeah, I think that back at the start, I won't really kind of drill down too much into the thought process, but really the kind of overarching thing is that we had an issue with a lot of people and trying to get good quality content back from people. And a lot of people that we were dealing with around the world were corporate clients who had restrictions on their machines. Apps were a thing they couldn't download. So we created Camflare. We looked at creating a system and embracing the innovation and the change that was going on at the time to be able to give people the ability to record something and send it back to us or anybody using some sort of flexible storage as quickly as we possibly can and as the best quality we can as well. And Camflare has been, my passion since March. If the pandemic didn't hit, Camflare wouldn't exist. My thought process and the team's thought process in creating it would have never have happened. So it's really weird, out of real crises comes great innovation. And I do think that we've done that in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true. And Amy, working on projects across the year, this has been something that we've had to integrate. You've had to work through with clients as we've worked on projects. I mean, what for you has been the kind of practical applications of it and how has it been useful?
Well, I think, going on from what Neil was saying, we really created this for something that we were going to use ourselves as we saw a problem with people not being able to get content back to us. It's only then when you build it, you realise how many uses that Camflare has and how, it can be used across various different industries. We used it in awards, so we've got people sending in videos if they've won, for full conference production, session recordings, even down to just messages, sending it across to people. There's so many different uses for it. And actually, as we've gone on over the months, that's how we've realised that there's so many different ways that you can use it, and it just makes things so much simpler.
Very true, and I certainly experienced that firsthand working on some projects myself. And now the app has launched on iOS and on the Play Store, so obviously that's going to be a new string to the bow of Camflare. But off the back of this app, obviously you looked at an audio solution as well. We've looked at Mic Drop. Neil, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Camflare does audio and video, and we noticed that actually the audio part of it was really important as well. So some of the use cases in Camflare you've already mentioned, so recording speeches and conferences and pieces to camera and various different bits, and the audio bit was really apparent that like kind of meetings and lectures and podcasts and stuff like that would be really effective if we had an app that just did audio. And so we chose not to kind of run it as like a SaaS tier in Camflare, and we decided to look at a couple of other options with audio and create a complete new platform and app off the back of the core foundations of Camflare. So when you kind of go back and you go, well, in March we didn't even have these platforms, and now we're in where we are, and we've got two apps. Well, Mic Drop, you might be watching this and it's out and you can use it, but as we talk it's nearly there, and Camflare is kind of in version 1.0.6 or 7 at the moment, and that's a kind of an ongoing process of us adding bits to that as well. Mic Drop's it's just mad to think that that's the situation that we have, and Mic Drop is great if you shove your phone into the middle of a room do an interview with somebody, you can record that at broadcast quality and send it back to, I don't know, a studio or your PA, or store them on Dropbox for your organisation of lectures over the year. So that's why we thought that was really important. And I think that can be a fantastic app and platform for a multitude of people around the globe.
I'm sure we'll find out in due course how people decide to use it, and how we decide to use it ourselves. It's going to be very, very exciting. Amy, we've had to obviously embrace a lot of new technical things, and although people come to work and partner with WebVid for our creative hat, it is also this technical side that's so crucial. And when you've been managing projects, we've been using StreamYard to kind of manage large conversations for pre-records. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how managing that has been useful for putting together these large-scale virtual events?
Yeah, so alongside Camflare, we need a destination where everyone can be in one place and still have a conversation. So we use that as a reference. People can come into one platform. It's fairly simple. We just literally send out links to people. We need to keep it as easy as possible when we're sending sort of instructions and that to people, because obviously there's a lot of information, a lot of different things that they need to do. So yeah, we're sending over a link and then they can come in and we record, as I say, a backup recording in StreamYard as well as on Camflare. So I mean, the platform itself has worked really well for us. And obviously, like you've said, James, we constantly evolve and constantly find different uses for technology across this time.
Yeah, and it's all about quality, isn't it? And making sure we get the best we can from what's available to us. And I think the thing is with StreamYard and stuff, there's also, hence the name of that particular product, the opportunity to stream live, which is not something we encourage, because as amazing as technology is, it can fall down. It's something that I'm sure a lot of people have experienced, if not in this time in a business sense, certainly in their personal life. But Neil, I mean, what would you see kind of being the weak links and how we might see sort of future developments?
Well, the first thing I think with infrastructure is 5G is incredibly important. So when we're talking about streaming, obviously there's so much that can go wrong with streaming. Because of connections. Now, once we get better infrastructures in place, I mean, Japan are already testing 6G, which is crazy because we haven't even got 5G here now. Then the connections are more robust, they're quicker, it can just do more stuff. I mean, some people are getting potentially like up to a gig a second on these networks, and it is just crazy what's happening with upload and download. So I think when the infrastructures get bigger, streaming's going to be more important. We use a system called vMix in a professional capacity. vMix can be installed on a virtual machine in the cloud, and various people can interact and collaborate in making a production broadcast on TV or on the web via this. And I think, again, with infrastructure and getting faster and more robust and software evolving like vMix, that's just going to be incredible. I do think that, more people are going to embrace remote recording and use this more in events going forward, just because, I mean, is a company going to spend £1 million on travel to travel people around the world when they've realized over 8 months, 9 months, or whatever it is, by the end of the week, we get out of this situation, that actually by doing this virtual stuff, they've saved a whole lot of money, and the results are potentially, and time, and the results might be the same or better, probably better. So I think there's lots of innovation to come still. There's lots of people jumping on awards platforms and conference platforms. There's lots of Series A rounds going on with huge amounts of money being chucked in the pot for people to create these things right now. And I probably can't shy away with the fact that virtual reality is going to be
a reality.
It's going to be a reality. So, walking into a virtual room really with 3D and looking all the way around in 360 up and down and interacting with people that are halfway across the road. In fact, if you ever watch Ready Player One, I think is the future for most of us. But I mean, we're a long way off from it.
I think it'd be interesting to see what direction things take. And I mean, you did touch on the use of vMix and things like that for studio and live streaming and events. I mean, we haven't even gone down sort of how we've utilized NDI technology and that new innovation and how that sort of works with camera technology and opens up a whole bunch of other options. But I think that's something we might have to explore in more detail another time. Amy, I just want to close with your thoughts. Neil's kind of thought long and hard there about how it might apply to the event sector. I mean, would you agree with some of those points? I mean, it's useful, isn't it? Like having more tools at your disposal when you're having to think about how we can make things work creatively, but on a budget.
Yeah, definitely. Going into next year, I think people need to think about how to produce things efficiently. Like Neil said, cutting down on costs, cutting down on time. If all of these things can be done from us being in our individual places, then I don't see why it couldn't go forward this way, even when we are allowed to meet in actual reality again.
Actual reality.
Yeah, as opposed to virtual reality, actual reality. Those are going to be the two spheres we live in. That was a really short but sweet talk about tech innovation there. Thank you, Amy and Neil. We'd really like to know your thoughts about how you've been utilizing tech throughout this year to help improve things and adapt things for your organization or company throughout the pandemic, and how you might see things going forward in the future. Is there some of those things that haven't worked? Are there some of those things that you think you're going to use more of? Let us know in the comments of this video below. We're going to have another video in this Embrace the Change series coming up, where we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about online awards, and look out for posts about our live event where we're going to be speaking to some companies, finding out about how they have had to navigate this challenging time as well. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.